Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1.
Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into a Monday edition of the JP Peterson Show here. Thanks for joining us. Been a very interesting weekend of sports. Kind of weird without a Bucks game, right? Kind of weird, but we'll get through it. A chance to watch the other teams around the NFL, a chance to take in a lot of college football, which we're going to get to right away. A little bit of baseball, although I didn't watch much, I'll be honest with you. And we got Lightning starting up tomorrow. It's the home opener. I will be there doing my thing. I hope you guys will be too. Cannot wait for the start of Lightning season, and they've got some interesting roster decisions to make today. So we're going to get to all that. Eric Erlinson will join us live from Lightning practice at 10:45, and our good friend Corey Long, who covers college football and the Bolts, will join us at 10:15 to talk crazy weekend of college football. I'll say good morning to you, Nick Geddes. How are you, sir? How was the weekend? Lots of college football, I imagine.
Yep, no Bucks football, which, like you said, is pretty weird, but it's a chance to focus on the rest of the league, which I watched very closely. Watched a lot of college football this week very closely. Have a lot of takes on that. And at the end of the day, it's creamsicle week, so I already busted out my creamsicle.
I see that.
Got the old, there's old Bucko there on the side of the hat. I'm ready to roll. Probably going to go to that game on Sunday just to see it, so I'm excited.
Got my creamsicle bandana
flag
here. Yeah,
or bandana?
flag or whatever the hell this thing is they gave us a few weeks ago. I got to bust it out, though. I'll put it around Tally's neck for sure. Yeah, it is creamsicle week. And, oh, by the way, here come the Lions. Yikes. They destroyed the Panthers 42-24 yesterday without Amon-Ra St. Brown, without Jahmyr Gibbs. I mean, hello. These guys can play some football. They have got the Lions will come in here with a potent offense. But if there's one thing I saw yesterday, it's that it reinforced a lot of what I've been thinking about the NFL. There's a couple of really, really good teams, and then there's a lot of meh, as you like to say, meh. And the Cowboys, by the way, everybody's Super Bowl pick, you know what? They're meh. Although the 49ers have a way of making everybody look meh. They are just one nasty, fast, talented football team. And by the way, Brock Purdy, he's pretty good.
Yeah, he can play.
Now,
just a little bit.
Did you see what I posted last night just for fun on Twitter? I always like when you get these low round draft picks, go back and like get their combine analysis of what, what the experts are saying about them. Let me see if I can pull his up real quick because I tweeted it out last night. It's kind of funny. Here it is. Overview on Brock Purdy. 4-year starter who was never able to improve on a stellar sophomore campaign. Purdy is a burly pocket quarterback who needs a play-action-based offense where he can rely on timing over release quickness and arm strength. He can be a confident passer when he finds his rhythm, but throwing is more of a chore than a talent thanks to a labored release. Certain areas of the field will be off limits as he moves up to take an NFL coverage talent. He's a scrappy runner, but not dynamic enough to make up for his shortcomings as a passer.
Wow. And you say that. What'd they say? They called it a chore, right?
Yeah.
Throwing is more of a chore to him?
More of a chore
and
than a talent.
There's certain areas of the field that he just can't throw to.
What, like the middle of the field, like he was just smoking yesterday?
Yeah, which is funny. Passes that travel over 10 air yards, number one quarterback in the league is Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
Just putting that out there for all the people that keep trying to put this on the system, and they keep calling him the point guard, JP.
Yeah.
They love just calling
I
this
saw
guy
some
the
pretty
point
good
guard.
throws last night down the middle of the field, right on target to a streaking Brandon Ayuk or brain farting here.
Debo Samuel,
George
Kittle.
Kittle just gets open. He hits his hands every freaking time.
Like it's a great situation. Don't get me wrong, and a lot of other quarterbacks would like to have it. In fact, every other quarterback. But damn, if he doesn't stand in the pocket, and even when he's under duress, he stands in there and he just makes plays. Like, I'm over the whole Mr. Irrelevant story. The guy's 10-0 as a starter. The 49ers have
10-0 in the NFL.
The 49ers have won 15 regular season games in a row. most of them with him under center. He's just really, really good, folks. And by the way, he's one of the top MVP favorites.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Sorry to say, but that's what the 49ers are. And, it's amazing that they're still as good as they are despite what they gave away to get Trey Lance. Now, you find a quarterback in the 7th round, it kind of makes up for that. I get it. But still, how much better could this team, because Lynch would have drafted a couple more pass rushers or offensive linemen or linebackers, some with, 2 more physical top-end talent guys, this team would be even more devastating. So, this is what building a roster looks like. And John Lynch has done a hell of a job. Despite that major whiff, it's still the best roster in football.
I think we're at the point, JP, I think we can we just sim to the Eagles 49ers rematch?
Pretty
much. NFC, like, I love the Lions. The Seahawks have surprised me. The Rams are tough, whatever. The Cowboys.
The Bucks are nice. The Bucks are nice.
The Bucks might make a cameo in the playoffs.
Yeah,
but
fine.
That's my takeaway every week, and especially this week without having to watch the Bucks, watching everybody else play. The 49ers and the Eagles are head and shoulder. They're playing a different sport than the rest of the conference, I think.
What's interesting about the Eagles is they play way too many close games. Like, the 49ers don't play close games. They obliterate people. The Eagles play close games. I mean, you even as much like they handled the Buccaneers physically, but Mike Evans makes 3 catches that he should have made. That's a football game, which is kind of weird. That's not going to happen when the Bucs play the 49ers. That's not going to happen. They are going to. I mean, I hate to say it, but the 49ers are going to obliterate them. And by the way, suddenly the Bills game on Thursday night. The Bills lose Matt Milano. They've lost a couple of key defenders now. Yep. That's a big loss for them. So, suddenly the Bills are 3-2. You look down at the NFL and look at a lot of these teams, and you're like, how is their record what they're like? The Steelers, like, they win a game. They win a game yesterday where their offense is just horrific. They get, somebody call it Tomlining, like a Tomlin special teams score, a defensive score, your offense gets 1 play and you win a game. And the Ravens drop 8 passes, 3 of them for touchdowns. Lamar Jackson, I mean, you look at his line, you're like, gee, what happened to their offense? They scored 10 points, drop passes. Oh, and this, I couldn't believe this. So their receivers coach, and Rex Ryan said it so well this morning on Get Up. He wants to be a guru, right? He loves to go. He's a guru. So he's got the receivers coach in Baltimore has him catching a rugby ball. Sal Palantonio had this on the pregame show. He brought out a rugby ball and a football. Like in between drills, he throws them the rugby ball because he says you have to catch a rugby ball with 2 hands. I don't like him catching it with the football with 1 hand. So now he has a rugby ball and his receivers go out and drop 8 passes because they're trying to catch a rugby ball. No, have them catch a freaking football. Stop trying to be a guru.
Yeah,
with your rugby idea.
It's not working. And Odell Beckham Jr. at $15 million per is not working either. So ineffective. And that the Steelers Ravens, I'll just say this about that game. Is there any more rivalry that's it's got to be the most boring, like, historic rivalry out there. Watching the Ravens and the Steelers play football on the screen together, that was like, I'm sure you didn't watch a second of this game on Friday. I had to for work. No. Nebraska and Illinois on Friday night was.
I watched a little bit of it because it's Friday night. I was flipping around.
That's the Steelers and the Ravens is like watching Big Ten West football.
Yeah,
that's what it's like watching, and I mean that in the worst of ways.
Yeah,
those games are horrific to get through. There's never any offense. It's all defense, and nobody likes watching great defense unless it's your own. No, let's be honest here.
And a lot of times, a great defense is just more about playing bad offenses. Right. Okay, it's a good defense going up against a bad offense, and it really looks bad. And the defense is great. Nah, well, it's probably pretty good, but the offense is awful. Yeah, a lot of that going on. And Pittsburgh can't score. I mean, remember we saw Kenny Pickett in the preseason. I'm like, man, Pittsburgh's going to be really good. Kenny Pickett has got it. And I'm like, maybe not. Maybe not. It just goes to show you that so much about quarterbacking and NFL and scoring points is about play calling and sequencing and creativity. Like, you look at the Cowboys. The Cowboys offense is just so 2003. And, you get rid of an offensive coordinator because you're scoring 40 points a game. You got to get rid of him, Kellen Moore. And now McCarthy wants to, dust off the Green Bay Packers circa 2008 playbook and try to throw it out there. It's a completely different game now. And if you're not, and this is why Todd Bowles went and got Dave Canales, because he understands the modern game of shifting and motions and moving offensive linemen and alt stacks and all this different stuff. All this, some people call it eye candy. But to me, I call it mind candy. Get in the mind of the defensive players. Have them thinking about everything. All right. Get their eyes moving everywhere so they can't. I mean, last year, if you're playing the Bucs, man, you knew exactly what was coming. There were no variations, and you can just fly to the football. You're not doing any thinking. You're just running. And that's when you can play great defense. That's easy to stop. When you're like having to, was that a fake? Is that an RPO? Is that a reverse? Is that a jet sweep? Are they countering me? Which way is this? I mean, it's hard to play. It's hard to play defense that way. And you can see, how the Bucs are taking advantage of that with a mobile quarterback in Baker Mayfield. So
yeah, and when you see the 49ers and the Cowboys on the same field, and you have arguably the most creative coach in the entire NFL over a guy who was, like you said, living in 2003. I mean, remember, Aaron Rodgers got tired of playing under this guy.
Yeah.
There's a reason why he didn't last with Aaron Rodgers. Things got stale, and then Aaron Rodgers gets Matt LaFleur, and he wins back-to-back MVPs. The Cowboys, I think, had the number one in total offense last year, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Everybody made a big whoop. Well, Dak Prescott led the league in interceptions. They scored 33, 34 points a game.
Who cares?
Who cares? Tony Pollard, all of a sudden, Skip Pete, Bucs running back coach, by the way. 0 fumbles from Tony Pollard and Zeke Elliott last year, and Tony Pollard's now fumbling in key situations backed up in their own goal line. Yep. So you didn't want Kellen Moore. You didn't want Skip Pete. You wanted to have all this control, and now your offense stinks. And I guess what? There's no remedy to it. The Cowboys, when it comes to the NFC, have an offense that's probably like 8, 9, or 10 of the 16 teams that are in the NFC right now. That's where they're at. I don't think it's going to get any better. It reminds me of a lot of what the Bucs looked like last year offensively with this archaic play calling, no motion. The Cowboys ran one play of play action yesterday, and guess what? It worked. It was a CeeDee Lamb 30-yard pass over the middle of the field coming out of the half. You saw a 3rd and 4. By the way, they come out of the half, and they had a nice little drive going. And then on 3rd and 4, they're playing strictly in 4-down territory, and they run it left at a shotgun with Rico Dowdle right towards Javon Hargrave.
Yeah.
And they lose 2 yards, and they have to take a field goal. Game was over right there. You had to score. I mean, that's just conservative play calling and then malpractice of having Rico Dowdle out of shotgun against Javon Hargrave, Nick Bosa, and all those boys. Awful.
Yeah, the NFL is a couple of good teams, and we thought the AFC was so stacked. The Chiefs have not been impressive.
They're an autopilot. They're an autopilot. They do this every year. They're going to win 15 games, and then the postseason's going to come, and they're going to kill everybody.
Yeah,
they're an autopilot.
You're probably right. You're probably right. They're probably bored with the regular season. Just win games and get out of here. Kelsey, I thought it was injured yesterday, but he had a nice day. There's just a lot of the Dolphins win yesterday over the Giants. The Giants are awful, but God, the Dolphins are so fast. A-Chain, what do you call it? A-Chain, whatever the hell. That dude, the Flash. He is so free. He hits the hole so freaking fast. And then Tyreek Hill, the Giants are out there playing him man-to-man with nobody over the top. Well, that's going to work well for you. So he gets another big play. The Dolphins are good offensively, but I don't think they're a great football team.
They're not there defensively.
And by the way, how bad are the Patriots? This I'm telling you what, Bill Belichick wants to get the wins record. I know he wants to get Shula's wins record. It may take him about 10 years to catch him and ruin his legacy in the meantime.
Yeah,
the game has passed him by. The game, personnel-wise, the game has passed him by. Dude, shut it down before you embarrass yourself anymore. It's embarrassing. 34-0 to the Saints. I mean, the Saints are okay. They're a good football team.
They've been outscored 70-3 over the past 2 weeks.
Yeah,
70-3.
Yeah, a lot of this bad offense selections. And not having an offensive coordinator last year ruined Mac Jones. You got no quarter,
and I think I think he's sabotaging Mac Jones. I think he's sabotaging Mac Jones. Truthfully,
Yeah.
And everybody's like, well, all of a sudden they're in the Caleb Williams sweepstakes. I don't want Caleb Williams going to that team.
No,
if Bill's
God,
coaching it. And imagine what
no.
I'm saying, the most accomplished head coach in the history of the league, and I don't want Caleb Williams to go to that football team.
I tell you what, I'm telling you, at some point we're going to find out how much that dude was cheating. I'm just – none of it ever made sense. None of it ever made sense that they were so much better than everybody else with mediocre talent. You know, I want to say mediocre. I'd say above average, decent talent.
Look
they
at
were
what's
always
going
winning
on.
Super Bowls.
Look at what's going on in Las Vegas, and look what's going on in New England. And
exactly.
You let me know how those two dudes had much to do with that dynasty.
I don't
tell
get
me.
Cheating.
We all know who ran that.
Yeah.
The system. We all know who ran that.
Yeah, Tom F.
End of story.
Brady.
We've decided it. It's over.
You're a mediocre without Tom Brady. Mediocre at best.
He's just bad. He's just bad.
Yeah, he's not even mediocre. It's horrible. All right, quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk a lot of college football with Corey Long. Love chatting it up. He knows these Florida teams inside and out. Writes for Walter Football. Also covers the Bolts. So we'll talk a little Lightning with him as well. Quick break. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group and Bay Area Modern Medical Center in our first hour. Stay with us. Sitting around the house? Well, the Golden Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, silver, platinum, and watches. They also off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement costs, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799. All right. Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. As we roll on this Monday, as the Bucs get ready for a creamsicle game with the Lions, a lot of great college football this past weekend, and the Lightning, of course, opening up tomorrow night. So we bring in our good friend Corey Long, who is our college football expert and also covers the Bolts. What's up, Corey? How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, because we got a new system and our phone is working. So Nick is very, very happy that you sound so crisp and clear. So thanks.
That's good.
Yeah.
Nick deserves some good news after the weekend. So
Oh, Corey, please, come on now.
What you think this weekend was worse than last weekend? Well, I mean,
last weekend was just brutal.
Yeah, this was.
But
just...
at least last weekend, you had the impression you could win a Big 12 game.
I
This
still,
weekend, all hope was lost.
I was gonna say I still had hope about halfway through the Baylor game, and now I'm just accepted. Okay, they might not win a Big 12 game this year, folks. They might not win a Big 12 game.
Yeah, it's a little different, when you get gussied up one time a year for a big game in late December. This is 9 straight weeks of getting pounded by massive Big 12 offensive lines, and they just don't have the defensive line depth to hold up, unfortunately. It's just week after week. You're just getting 330-pound guards laying on you. So they got like 4 Power 5 capable defensive line when they started the season, and some fringe guys backing them up, and those guys get worn down fast.
Yeah.
But recruiting will fix that. Just takes time.
Just takes a little bit of time. We got to start right at the top with the University of Miami. I was watching that game live, Corey, and I'm yelling at the TV, not on the last play where Chaney fumbled, but like the first 2 plays. It's like, what are you doing? Like, it's basic math. You get under 2 minutes. They don't have any timeouts. Take a knee. Let's go. Let's get to the house. And here's Cristobal running plays. And I didn't know this, but back in 2018, he did the same thing in Oregon and lost the game to Stanford. Yeah. He did the same effing thing. Yeah. What, dude? You get paid $8 million a year and you can't figure this out? What the actual hell? Is that a fireable offense? I got to believe it is.
I mean, it is if they could fire him. If they wanted to swallow, I don't know, $50 million in contract. Is it a $50 million offense? I don't know about that.
There's got to be a clause in your contract, right?
Might have to add that one for future contracts. I mean, just to know when to take victory the victory formation clause.
Yeah, these buyouts, by the way, I think you have to have in these contracts, if you're going to have these huge buyouts, why can I not put in some minimal standards of accomplishment? Like, if you don't reach X, you don't get a buyout. Like, if you're not in the top 50 or, if you're not in the top 75 or you can't figure out when to line up in victory formation, that should be like number 1 on the list. It nullifies your buyout. Sorry. You get nothing and like it. Bye-bye.
And the worst part about this, now, for whatever reason, Tech always plays Miami hard. Like, you look at the recent, they always play them hard.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you were lucky to win, quote unquote, win the game at the time. And it's just like, the last thing I want to be doing is, just get me the hell out of here, whatever, because it was a rough night. I think Van Dyke threw 3 picks. Like, it was weird, they'd outgained them like 2-1, but they were down by a touch. So it's like, just get me the hell out of here. How about this? Let's just go and get ready for next week. And it was funny. I wasn't even really watching the game I was at a friend's house, and I was about to leave. I said, was the Miami game over? I'm like, oh yeah, so we just flipped back. I'm like, why? He goes, why are they still running the ball? I'm like, I have no clue. And then, I don't know if Chaney fumbled it. I actually don't think he fumbled it. I think he was down, but it doesn't matter. Yeah. Close enough. And they call it a fumble, so they weren't going to overturn it. And then, then things get worse. They give up a 35-yard pass that, the DB can't catch at the high point.
Right.
And then they give up the touchdown on a scramble drill because they were playing quarters and trying to protect the sidelines, figuring that they were going to go for a field goal, which that's okay thinking. I understand that. And instead, they just let the kid go right behind him.
Unbelievable.
And I'm just sitting there, My favorite part was they reviewed the touchdown.
Yeah, I know. I was like,
why?
What are you reviewing?
He was so slide when he was in the back of the end zone. Like, what were you reviewing? Like, did one of the Miami boosters say, "Please review it so we feel better about this"? Like,
I want to see it again on tape. We want to see it 3 or 4 more times. Why don't you just leave?
It had Jacksonville State vibes, JP.
Yeah, it did.
Did it not?
Yeah. Oh, it
really
did. Exactly. But at least it wasn't. Jacksonville State was the dumbest defense you could ever play in that situation. I get that. That's dumb. But at least it's a football play. Like, you didn't have to run a play. You didn't have to run 2 plays. And he kept running the freaking football, which is just. But does this resonate? Does this have lasting effect for Miami? I mean, by the way, you were like you said, you were losing to a team who lost the Bowling Green by 11 the week before in Georgia Tech. I mean, that alone is a reason to take you out of the top 25 or anything else. And then doing that, I mean, come on.
Yeah, I did not understand why he would have prolonged that game, to be honest with you. I don't know. I mean, I really, I'll put it this way. If you're recruiting the right kids, you should be able, you should have the 48-hour rule. It'll take 48 hours, and then you kind of, you get back to business. You got a big game this week. There's plenty of stuff in front of you but I don't know. I mean, there were a lot of kids, and I have a friend of mine that I talked to who actually is internal. She covers the team for the school, for the athletic department. And kids there were multiple kids that took that extremely hard, felt like it was their fault, which it wasn't.
Right.
Yeah, and they really took it hard. They were really starting to buy into the fact that this was a nice special season they were having. They were having some real great opportunities, and so it comes down to a crazy amount of emotional and mental toughness. And I don't know. I mean, you got guys in the sidelines that are literally, you can read lips like, "What the F are we doing? What are we doing out here?" Like, I think it's just hard. You really have to. You have a very short period of time to repair the trust between the coaches and the players, because it's just going to be hard to trust that staff right now, because you had a win under your belt, and they literally took a win away from you. They took a win away from you. And that's a hard thing it's a hard thing to, like, even the Jacksonville State thing, as bad as it wasn't like FSU they just screwed up in a victory formation. It wasn't like, they're just gonna throw the ball down the field anyway. So it's this was bad. This is bad on a lot of fronts. And the unfortunate part was that Mario kind of bumbled through his answer on that, when it really should have been very quick. My fault, my responsibility, my staff, my stupidity. I have to take this one on the chin. So, and that would have been, he could have said 20 words, and it would have at least, he could at least manned up on that, and he didn't.
He did not. That was bad. Hey, so I watched the whole entire FSU game. They got a couple of big runs from Trey Benson. But here, look, FSU has won 11 straight games. Mike Norvell's done an amazing job with this. Louisville, by the way, is really good. North Carolina is very good. And FSU, they don't play each other until the ACC championship game, whoever it's going to be.
Someone will play each other till ever.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. But my take is, and I'm not complaining. As a Florida State guy, I'm not complaining, but I had hopes of we might could win the national championship this year. Now I'm like, this defense can't even win an ACC championship. This defense is awful. They cannot stop a running quarterback. They can't stop the run. They are not very good at stopping the pass either. And their talent on the defensive side is not that bad to be 120th in defense or whatever the hell they are, last in the pass defense in the ACC. And most of their good defensive players are transfers. So it's like they're not developing defensive players. They can't call defensive plays. I know you're not a big fan of Adam Fuller, their DC, and now I'm in with you. it's bad. I mean, I love what I'm looking at. I'm not trying to complain, but I'm just being realistic. I don't think FSU, and after what I saw, I think they're going to lose maybe one or two games on the way to the ACC championship. Am I totally off base here?
All right, so you're there's a lot you said that's correct. Something's a little unfair. I do think that they showed that there's a lot of transfer. I mean, the whole team is. I think it's about 18 of the starting 22 are transfers. So that's everywhere.
That's
but
true. Yeah.
it's they have shown a lot. There's some kids that have developed well. Patrick Payton, Byron Turner Jr. both done a good job of developing. Kalen DeLoche, tremendous. Conrad Hussey looks like a young player that's got a lot of potential. A.Z. Thomas looks like a young player they recruited. So, some of the recruits have done well. Some of the kids, the homegrown kids have shown a lot of progress. Here's the thing. I don't think their defense is good, but I will tell you what I do like. I do like their red zone defense. I do think that they do a good job of generally keeping the maximum amount of points off the board. They do let you get inside. They do let you get inside their territory a little too easily for me.
Yeah.
But they do tend to stiffen up. They tend to call the right amounts of pressure. This was a game that, again, they jump out. They're out 22-0. You feel like you're heading to some sort of a 57-10 walkover.
Right.
All of a sudden, they don't do anything in the second quarter. Then they give up the special teams play to start the third.
Guy doesn't even get touched.
It doesn't get touched. and you need those two Trey Benson runs really, because that was all you did in the second half was get a couple of Trey had a 62-yarder and 85-yarder, and but you look at Tech, They get the ball out of the 15. They turn it over on downs. They get it inside the 30. They fumble. So they've been able to, they've done a little, they got defensive touchdowns against Clemson. They figured out ways to make plays when they need to. Mm-hmm. The problem with that is eventually you're going to find teams that execute better in the red zone. I think they've gotten lucky that some of these teams just aren't very good in the red zone.
Yeah.
And you're going to find teams that can run the ball a little better, that have a little bit better passing tree when they get down there. I don't think they'll find that next week against Syracuse. I was concerned about the Duke game, but I don't know how much Riley Leonard's going to be able to move. He'll play. I think he'll play on that high ankle, but I don't know how much he'll be able to move. So that might be a break.
Yeah,
that's going to be a break. So you really start to look at the schedule, and it's like, okay, where's Miami going to be at mentally come November the 11th? Are they going to be recovered from this gap? They might not be. Who knows? They might be all transferred by that point.
And it may not be that.
Yeah, and then, I hate to say it, but you look at the Swamp where it's like, are the Gators a good team? No. But are they good at home?
Yes.
A lot. They're a lot better team at home. And they can run the ball. And they're willing to play an ugly game. You want to ugly up a game, they are more than happy to play an ugly game with you. So there's some roadblocks, but I still think they're a team that can get to the ACC title game unscathed. Okay. I don't think that all three of those teams are going to go 12-0. If they did, that would be hilarious.
Wouldn't it?
The ACC somehow schedule this conference known for blundering everything somehow schedule three teams to go 12-0. Imagine a Louisville team ranked 7th. And they're not going to play 12-0, and they're not going to play in the conference title game.
Well, imagine this. Imagine the ACC getting two teams in the playoff, because FSU runs the table and Louisville, runs the table. They can't, or North Carolina can't get in the title game, and so FSU and they're no one, and there may not be any other undefeated teams. And you're like, okay, so what are we going to do? Keep Louisville or North Carolina and whoever wins the ACC, especially if they are undefeated, if it's FSU and they have a win over LSU, they're in. There's no question. And then there's going to be another team that's undefeated. The ACC is going to have maybe Louisville and FSU will play each other in the college football playoff.
Come on.
Nuts.
I mean, there's no I'm thinking like there's no way they did this on purpose. So they're just you talk about running into some dumb luck of having three teams undefeated that won't cross swords at any point during the regular season.
Crazy bananas.
Jesus.
It feels like the year that we really should have the 12-team playoff.
Oh
honestly.
my God! Yes.
Like this would be a dream because I don't know if we know who the undisputed number one team is in the NCAA right now. And I'll tell you this, Corey, the team that did put themselves on notice, and you look at their schedule, it seems like they have the easiest route is Oklahoma. We saw what they did to Texas. Classic game, by the way, at the fantastic.
Yeah,
I would love to get a rematch of that in Jerry World if that's where they play their Big 12 title game this year.
Yeah.
But Oklahoma under Dylan Gabriel, who I'm very familiar with, obviously, he seems like he's taken his game to the next level. Oklahoma, though, do they seem like I said, easiest route to the playoff? Have they arrived officially now?
Well, what Brent Venables did was he got that defense working. I mean, that defense has gotten a lot better. They're not, they're still not great, but they're far more opportunistic than they were last year. And I mean, that was a tough game on Saturday. Texas had 3 turnovers and got stopped at the half-yard line. Still probably, still had the lead with 90 seconds left. So. That shows you how good that Texas team is and how much they really shot themselves in the foot that day. So, I think you'll get a rematch there. Texas has a few more roadblocks at Kansas State. Looks a little funny. Kansas State can always be tough at home. At TCU looked tougher maybe earlier in the season than it does now. But, there's some possibilities there. But I'd love to see that rematch. And I think, that rematch is a winner gets in sort of thing. I think a 12-1 Texas team with a road win over Alabama is still a very, very quality football team. There's so much left to be determined. That's the thing. I watch a lot of the Alabama A&M game, and I'm like, this team is improving. This Bama team's getting better, and that's kind of like, and it's like that SEC West is not good. I mean. LSU is giving up 600 yards to any team that's on the field against them. So, hey, LSU's defense to take 650 on us, So
which is crazy with the athletes that they have. Oh my God.
Yeah. And I mean, you start to get to a point where it's like, oh God, if Bama keeps winning, who wants to face them when they don't have anything to lose? That's the scariest team out there.
I think if I saw last week, and I'm going to go jump on it, but it's probably changed a lot. They were like, I think 12 or 18-1 to win the national championship, Alabama. I'm like, holy crap, let me go get some of that action.
I'll jump on that action.
Exactly. I'm like, no, if nobody's outstanding, Nick Saban will coach his ass into a. We remember. I can't even say that because his dad's a good friend of mine. We remember Kirk Coker, right? Jake Coker.
Oh, yeah.
Kirk Coker's
Jake Coker, yeah.
Remember that team. Not that he played very well. He played very well. Yeah, but he wasn't headed to the NFL anytime soon. So he can take a pedestrian quarterback, and their receivers are starting to catch the ball too. Alabama's receivers are finally figuring it out. So yeah, I'm gonna get a little bit of action. Go put $100 on Alabama to win the national championship. You might make a little money on that deal.
Exactly, that's a good bet to have. Like I said, they don't have anything. Go ahead.
I was going back to Oklahoma. Dylan Gabriel, and this is what Nick hates. I'm going to do this, but that throw that he made from a freaking phone booth. I mean, go back and look at that winning touchdown. That whole drive and the runs that he made.
My goodness.
Holy crap! That throw. He's in a freaking phone booth, and he just raises up and just like over the tops it, drops it right in the basket. What a throw! That kid's really good.
Oh my God. He is good, and I mean that's why he was able to transfer to Oklahoma. He didn't no offense, Nick, he didn't fall down. He transferred up.
He didn't transfer to USF.
I know, and a lot of UCF fans, Corey, they're not fans of Dylan Gabriel, right? They don't like the way he left, and it's like he went to Oklahoma. I mean, what do you want the guy to do? He went to Oklahoma, and I guess the funny thing is though at UCF he never really had that clutch gene. If there was one thing that I always said, the games that he lost were always on the road, away from home, and late in the game. He didn't have a clutch gene. and all of a sudden he's figured it out at Oklahoma. I love watching it. He's probably in the short list for the Heisman. He's got to be on that top 5 list. I don't know what his odds are, but I like him right now because he's got a chance to add style points.
Yeah, I was just starting to think it's definitely going to be curious to see who gets that invite to New York because there's a lot of – it's a quarterback award, and there's a lot of good ones this year. They're putting up – it's funny. I was looking at – I hate it because LSU's defense is so bad, but it's like, boy, Jaden Daniels is having a ridiculous season by any metric.
He's so good.
Like he's probably not even going to get an invite because the team's going to lose 3 or 4 games. It's like,
no, he's so good.
Like, this guy's ridiculous.
And you know who else is good? Brock Bowers is pretty good.
Brock Bowers, what he did last week against Auburn, the way he just took over the tight ends don't take over games. He took over the game. He told Carson Beck, "That's my ball. When you throw it to me. Don't throw it to anybody else but me." And double covered, triple covered behind me, in front of me, over my shoulder, doesn't matter. And that's he's great. And boy, Georgia. He's found out what happened this week when Georgia felt like they were getting pressured. They felt like someone was getting on their nerves a little bit. You found out what happened when Georgia, when they get a little irritated.
Punch them in the mouth.
They can still beat the tar out of some teams. There's a lot to be determined. I hate that we're halfway through it because that means we're halfway through it. But man, it's been good
there's
so
a lot.
far.
We got a lot of big games left to go. And the Gators. Speaking of Kentucky, getting their ass handed to them this week. But the Gators took care of business. Okay, at the Swamp against Vanderbilt, team they lost to last year. This Jekyll and Hyde thing of home and away. So what do we get when they play Georgia at a neutral site? They're just like they're crappy, they're great, so they're just really average on neutral site, I guess. Did we learn anything about the Gators this weekend?
I mean, we the same stuff that we do. If they can run the ball, they're a pretty successful team. I will tell you this. All the concerns I had about the quarterback, I think he does what they asked him to do. I think he does it pretty well. Their issues just come when they just physically don't show up. Like when they played against Kentucky, they physically just didn't show up. Kentucky just dragged them all around the field. They've got to be tough every week, and that's hard. It's hard to know that that basically in the trenches you have to be willing to go to war every week because they're just not good enough to do it any other way. So,
right,
this South Carolina game, same thing. Got to go in there and battle every week because it's going to be hard. They're not going to do it. It's tough. Yeah.
I know you're heading over to Amalie for practice this morning. We'll have Eric Erlinson on coming up next. But any quick thoughts on the roster? You think we're going to see Merrill at some point this year? I think we will. I think they really like him. Is Barboulay going to get that last forward spot? Austin Watson, what do you think?
I think ABB will get it to start. It'll be up to him how long he keeps it. I mean, this has to be, it has to be, either get it done or get off the pot time. It's been 4 years now. He's been on the verge, and you spend your whole career on the verge and you never get there. So he's there, give him the opportunities, power play, giving him third line. He's got to step up and show that he can put the puck in the net, make some plays. He's certainly capable, but it just hadn't come together. And Erlinson, what does that guy know about hockey?
Well, I'd rather spend my time talking to you about college football, that's for sure. But you know your hockey as well. But I only have limited time. So, all right. Thank you, partner. Appreciate it, Corey. I will see you at Amalie Arena tomorrow night. It's going to be fun.
Absolutely. Home opener. Fun begins. Let's do it.
Let's go. All right. The great Corey Long. You can find him on Twitter, the X Machine, at Corey, CoreyLong. Corey Long. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. All right, we will take a quick break here. Eric Erlinson will join us as the aforementioned Eric Erlinson, as I said, and we will talk some hockey with him as we get set to open up an NHL season. That's going to be. I didn't realize this, but there are a lot of pundits saying the Lightning aren't even going to make the playoffs. What? All right, we'll talk about that when we come back. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group. If you have a legal need of any type, if you got an insurance claim for the hurricane or insurance claim on your auto and you need help of an attorney, they are the folks to talk to. They are absolutely vicious when it comes to representing you against those insurance companies. JEEVES, JeevesLawGroup.com. Give them a call, contact them through the website and tell them JP sent you. Back in 3 with Eric Erlinson. Stay with us. you have any old coins sitting around the house? Well, the Gold and Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Gold and Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. Hey guys, are you experiencing those feelings of getting older, lower sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, or you just don't feel like you had the vitality you once had? It's a chronic problem here in the United States. You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well, so do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Look, testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability, not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Folks, I've been on testosterone therapy for over 6 years, and it is a life changer. You will feel and look better than you did 10 years ago. Give them a call at 844-977-3477 or you. The Jeeves Law Group's focus is on auto, truck, and motorcycle accidents, as well as class action and consumer protection law. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. You hear him on the show all the time. Great guy, big Gator fan, and great for the community. The Jeeves Law Group is a highly skilled team with years of experience that will apply their skills, expertise, and knowledge to assist individuals who have been in an accident with compensation for damages, lost wages, medical expenses, pain and suffering, and property damage. Get that free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show as we are almost 36 hours away till puck drop on the brand new Lightning season. A very rare occasion for these Lightning players to have a long off season, and I'm very excited to see what kind of energy they come back with. If the preseason is any indication, they are ready to go. Let's welcome in our good friend Eric Erlinson, Lightning insider, been covering the Bolts for 20 plus years. What's up, Eric? How are you, my friend?
I'm good, JP. Good to be back with you.
Yeah, it's hockey season. We can focus on a team that knows how to win titles and knows where to play their games and how to run an organization. Of course I would.
No comment.
Hey, it's an interesting situation that they have with some good players at the bottom of the roster and some very interesting decisions to be made. What is your sense of how the roster will shake out?
Well, we saw Gabriel Fortier and Zach Bogosian put on waivers yesterday, and the Bogosian move is not necessarily reflective that they don't want him here there's cap indications, and we've seen this the past couple of years with Julian and Matthew Darsh and how they set their season opening lineup to maximize their ability to utilize long-term injury relief. And they've got Brent Seabrook's contract at $6.875 million, starting probably Wednesday. We'll probably place Andre Vasilevsky on LTIR to maximize that space as well. So what we see right now might not even necessarily be who's with the team tomorrow. But I think one thing that I've sort of noticed through this training camp is that those decisions at the bottom of the roster have been maybe a little more difficult in years past. I think in, last couple of years, you knew who the 12 forwards were going to be primarily. You knew who the top 7 or 8 defensemen were going to be. This year, I don't think we got that sense with the forward group, right? Like Alex Barber-Lay looks like he's going to get his shots, his long-awaited opportunity to maybe play in more of a role at the NHL level. Valtteri Merula came in and played very well in training camp. A 25-year-old forward coming out of the KHL. He's finished. He looks really good so far. So there's been decisions that maybe haven't been as obvious as they have been in years past, and that's not a bad thing. That means you've got good competition.
And Barber-Lay, we talked a little bit about him with Corey Long, who's questioning your knowledge on hockey, by the way. You had to throw a shot in there at the end. What does he know about hockey? What is this this is your last chance? You better step up and show us you can actually do it at the NHL level, or we're going to have to move on?
Pretty much. I mean, he's 26 years old now. He's been in the organization for 6 years, I think, 7 years. Had a cup of coffee here and there. He's a terrific AHL player. He's an MVP caliber player in the AHL, and the amount of goals that he can score and points. And, they've asked him to work on his skating. It's been a slow process to get his skating up to a good, NHL level. But he's got a lot of things that you like, right? He's got good offensive instincts. He's got a really good shot from that right circle on the power play in the absence of Ross Colton, who had that spot on power play number 2 the past couple of years. He's going to get the opportunity to look and produce there. But this is the last year of his contract. He's I think he might still be an RFA at the end of this year, but this is probably it. We thought a couple of years ago when the Lightning put him on waivers and was claimed by Seattle that was going to be it. But Seattle, put him back on waivers a couple of days later. He came back into the organization. But yeah, this is an opportunity for Alex Barber-Lay that he hasn't really had in years past. I wouldn't say he sees the opportunity like you want to see, because we've been waiting for him to kind of just seize it and say, this is my spot, you're not taking it from me.
Right.
We've seen flashes of it this training camp. I think for other situations, you're like, wow, that's not a good play by him. So he's still kind of, in that middle range, and he just has to take that next step forward to show that he can contribute at the NHL level.
And in net, obviously, Jonas Johansson, I mean, for what it's worth, he stopped, 96 of 98 shots, I think, in 3 preseason games. But it is the preseason, obviously, game very different, but it's a good sign. My question is, and I guess my concern, too, is, the Lightning, it feels like, and this is a good strategy they've always had, it's like they're taking it easy a little bit in the regular season, not focused on getting the top spot. But now having an inexperienced goalie, how much trust do you have? Because I don't think the play in front of Vasilevsky sometimes during the regular season has been as great from the defensive core. And so how much, I guess, confidence do you have in what they have there that they can piece that together for at least 2 months and help out a young goalie?
Yeah, they're going to need to. I think in years past, because of the amount of playoff hockey that they played, there were moments in seasons where they kind of did, pull the throttle back a little bit and kind of slow things down. But first of all, you can't afford that anymore in this division. You look at the strides that Ottawa's made and Buffalo have made, and how much deeper the division is than maybe it has been the past couple of years. So you can't afford to do that. You have to get off to a good start. They've got a lot of division games early in the season. After tomorrow night, they head out for 3 on the road in the division. They're at Detroit, they're at Ottawa, they're at Buffalo. So, they're going to get tested early on. But I can say, watching Johansson play, he and every single one of the starts have been made since the news about Andre Vasilevsky came out. And to me, the way he's played is a confidence booster for him and the team, because, I sit next to Chief a lot. I talk to Chief a lot. He is so calm in his crease, and that's not easy to learn as a goaltender. He finds the puck well. He moves side to side well. He doesn't have a lot of wasted movement across his crease, and he just looks composed in there. And, you know, he's not a young goaltender. He's 25, 26 years old. He's got pro experience. He's got a few games in the NHL. But I can tell you, they probably feel a lot better about their goaltending situation, at least with Johansson going into the season opener tomorrow night than maybe they did 10 days ago when the news came out about Andrei Vasilevskiy. The thing for me to keep in mind is what are they going to do with the backup, right? Matt Tompkins was brought back over. He's played the last couple of years in Europe. He's 29 years old. He's looked pretty good in his 3 starts in preseason. But do you want to take a team like this that still has Stanley Cup aspirations and give them 2 inexperienced NHL goaltenders to kind of ride with? Waiver wire, we'll see what happens at 2 o'clock today. There are a couple of goalies put on waivers, most notably Martin Jones in Toronto. You know, what kind of thought process they have with that. So that's something we're going to have to keep an eye on, you know, over the next coming days, what they're going to do with the backup position. But Johansson's looked very, very good so far during preseason. But it is preseason. It's a little bit different, a little bit faster once you get to the start of the regular season. So we'll see how he handles himself.
Yeah, Eric Erlinson joining us here, lightninginsider.com. I agree with you. I'd be shocked if they go into the season without an experienced goalie, at either the one or the two. So I think there will be some guys, and as you mentioned, Martin's already on there. So I think there'll be some guys that they have to look at because, this team. And this is my next question because I was reading some of the predictions from the national pundits, and there are some saying that the Lightning are going to take a huge step back, may not even make the playoffs. The Atlantic is is deeper now. I mean, I still think the Bolts have the best top 4 core in the game. That includes Vasilevskiy, but they've done well without him before, right? I mean, we've seen them go long stretches without Vasi and been fine. So I just don't see them taking a step back. Am I being a homer here, or what do you see?
I don't think you're being a homer. I think that, because of the improvements in the division and then the news about Vasilevskiy, you kind of put 2 and 2 together there and go, yeah, it's going to be hard. And it's not going to be easy. It's not. They're not as deep as they have been in years past. You don't have the Gord, Holman, Goodrow line, which we're going to talk about forever and what they meant to this team and winning a couple of Stanley Cups. So they don't have that same depth. I mean, look, you still have a little bit of inexperience in the back end. I mean, this is Nick Perbix's second season in the NHL. Can he continue to make improvements? This is going to be Darren Radish's first full season in the NHL. So there's still some inexperience on the right side with those 2 guys. As good as they looked, last season and the tail end of last season, and even Radish was really comfortable in that series against Toronto. So that you can kind of see why people looking from the outside would say that. But I don't get that sense with this team. I think they're deeper than they were last year at the forward group. We just mentioned Barry Boulet and Marilla and all these other guys that have come in. And, Tyler Mott, I think, is one of these type of players that you're going to have to watch every night to appreciate the way that he can play. I think Luke Glendening is going to be a valuable asset, especially when it comes to the face-off circle and winning penalty kill face-offs in particular. We'll see what they do with Austin Watson and peace signs and the size that he can kind of bring. He's still here on a PTO. So I think that outside, I can see why people would think that, but I'm kind of with you, JP. I think that this team is, under those circumstances, are going to surprise a lot of people because you still have Braden Point and Nikita Kucherov and Victor Hedman and Steven Stamkos and Mikhail Sergachev. There are some really good players here, and Cirelli. Yeah. And at the end of the day, Brandon Hagel scored 30 goals last year. This is still a really good team that has a goaltending issue, at least for 2 months. The key is going to be how can you handle these first couple of months until Andrei Vasilevskiy is ready to come back.
And concerning the Steven Stamkos kind of contract situation, and I know you've probably talked about it and been asked about it a lot, but has it surprised you in any way, the way the team kind of handled that this offseason? It seemed like obviously Stamkos was a little surprised, and then I guess second part of that question, the fact that it didn't get done, is that almost helpful in a way? Because, I mean, Stamkos has nothing left to prove, obviously, in the NHL, but just a little bit more fire to show that he could stay here for the long term.
To answer the first part, Nick, I am a little surprised that there haven't been at least conversations about it. That was the part that took me by surprise, even going back to July 1st. I halfway expected, as we've seen them do with guys in the past, once July 1st came around, they would sign some of their guys to extensions. I figured Stamkos would fall into that category. Obviously, that's not the case. Obviously, he's not happy about it. A little disappointed in the fact that he's certainly willing to to have those conversations at any point in time. But I don't think it's going to affect him one way or the other. I don't think it's necessarily going to be a motivator. He's been through this before when it was a much bigger deal in 2016 in that summer. And, the summer of Stamkos that was, I don't think it's going to have any bearing on him, the way he leads, the way he produces, his teammates, anything like that. I fully expect that something will get done. I think when Julian spoke about it on day one that, he needs more information. I think the cap is the information he needs.
Yes.
The early projections are it might go up about 6 or 7 million. That's a huge jump.
That's
for
significant.
A cap that's been basically stagnant since 2020. I think that's the biggest key of information that he needs because a lot of these players are locked up. Right? Vasilevsky's locked up, Kucherov's locked up, Point's locked up, Cirelli, Chernak, Sergachev. All these guys are locked up, so you know what your core looks like. Now it's just a question of finding what's the right fit to keep Steven Stamkos here that's going to allow the cap flexibility and also provide Stamkos with what he deserves to make.
It's a very Mike Evans-ish situation for both teams, these generational superstars. But both teams need much more information to get a fair deal, not only for the player, but for the team as well. So, but I understand where the players are coming from, especially Stamkos, because, he took a major pay cut to stay here. And I think he wants, and I don't blame him, wants to see some loyalty repaid. But for the Lightning, it's a tough situation. I think they want to do that. They obviously want to do that, and they're going to do that. I agree with you, but it's just that this is crucial information that everybody needs to have. So, but from the player standpoint, I know it sucks.
And then the one thing to keep in mind about all that too, Victor Hedman's contract's up after next season. So
exactly.
You got to kind of balance that stuff in there as well.
Yeah, that's another one, and I think they're both still have some good hockey ahead of them. Maybe not their best hockey, but certainly some really, really good hockey, and you don't want to lose them. So moving forward. And there, Eric, is there anybody, when you just listed a lot of the depth here, is there anybody, and I put Braden Point in this category, I think he still has another, I won't say he has another level to go, but maybe another level of recognition to get. But he has to keep doing what he's been doing. Where do you see Braden Point's game right now?
Boy, coming off of last year, it's certainly a lot to live up to, scoring 50, 51 goals like he did in the manner in which he did. I don't know. I saw him take that leap last year. He was a much more confident player, right? Like his level of play and understanding who he is as an NHL player took a massive jump, and that's for a guy who had already been a 90-point scorer in this league and a 40-goal scorer in this league. And, some of the stuff he pulled off last year. So I think as long as he maintains that confidence level and that ability and everything else, I think that, another 50-goal season is not out of the picture. He was so consistent last year. Like, I don't think he went more than about 4 or 5 games without scoring a goal.
The great ones do.
I think, and the recognition, that just comes with it. It's the market. You look at a guy like Sasha Barkov down in Florida. He's arguably a top 5 center in this league, and he's never listed as a top 5 center because he plays in Florida, right? And everybody wants to talk about McDavid and Matthews and all these other centers around the league, and he doesn't kind of get the same recognition. So Point falls into that category, even though he's already been a top goal scorer in the playoffs and produced when the spotlight's on, yet he's not looked at in that view because he's not confident.
Yeah, I agree. Nick, you got anything else?
Yeah, I'll ask too. Just a last one for me from the Atlantic Division as a whole. And like you said, a lot of people are not picking the Lightning to win the division. Hell, I probably won't pick them to win the division. It really hasn't been their thing past couple years. But who in the Atlantic Division seems almost wide open to me because I think we're expecting a little bit of pullback from Boston potentially. Kind of the old guard has moved on. Florida had the wonder run, but is that going to translate to the regular season? And Toronto is, I don't want to call them a question mark. I feel like they're still going to produce, but who's that team in the Atlantic that you think is ultimately going to prevail of the top teams, or is it a newer team like a Buffalo that could break through?
I think Buffalo's a team that's poised for a breakthrough. They just missed out on the playoffs last year. They got out to a bad start to catch up. That's why it's imperative not to fall too far behind because you can lose a playoff spot in October that you can't gain back by the time you get to March. And that's where the Sabres kind of fell into last year. If they get goaltending, And Devin Levi's coming in as a rookie, got a little taste of it last year towards the tail end of the season. If he lives up to the expectations, Buffalo's going to be tough. I mean, Chase Thompson in the season that he had, that's just Stalin just got that big contract extension there. They got Owen Power back there as well in the back end. Some of the other players they picked up in that trade, in the Jack Eichel trade, have really started to kind of come on, Peyton Krebs and that crew. That's the team that I look at to kind of make that next step and be in the position to satisfy these starving fans of Buffalo who have not seen playoff hockey, I think, in 13 or 14 years.
Wow.
Which is an incredible run to not be in the postseason. But they look like they got their act together in Buffalo. Boston certainly seems fine to take a step back, but I thought they were going to take a step back last year. All they did was set the NHL record for wins. But Bergeron's not there, and he was always a key cog in kind of keeping everything together there. They don't have the depth that they had up the middle. They don't have the depth on the back end that they've had. So if there is a team in the Atlantic that's going to take a big step back and maybe miss the playoffs, I think it might be Boston. So other than that, maybe swap Boston and Buffalo from what we saw last year, and that might look like the Atlantic Division in some sort of order once we get to April.
All right, Ed Double E's, thanks, man. Tell everybody how they can get lightninginsider.com and all the things you're doing right now with your content.
Yeah, so if anybody didn't know, the site did crash over the summer in August, so it's been offline for a while. We're just now in the process of getting it rebuilt. We might end up going live later today with it.
Nice.
You can kind of see a test of it is up and available to at least look at right now as we start to filter in the old content into it and hopefully add some new content here with the season opener tomorrow. So lightninginsider.com is the website. And of course, back as part of the radio team doing some walk-off interviews after the first period and some occasional last call post-game show on the road as well. And of course, filling in for you, JP, when Florida State keeps you busy.
Thank you very much, and I do appreciate that, which will be on November 11th for the Miami game. So put that on your calendar for sure. All right, Eric Erlandson covered a team who knows how to win in the postseason, knows where to play, and knows how to treat their fans, the Tampa Bay Lightning. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
All right, be well, boys.
Thanks. The great Eric Erlandson from practice, by the way. I probably should have mentioned that with all the background noise going on. It's like, where the hell is Eric? What the hell is going on? Good stuff there.
That got me in the mood, man. I tell you what, the Lightning, doesn't it just feel like it just snuck up on you out of nowhere?
Yeah.
Like it's like 15 days ago they reported to camp, and then we're playing a real hockey game tomorrow on ESPN. It counts. Not
a lot of preseason involved, right? Well, by the way, tomorrow, 1:00, everything begins on Ford Thunder Alley. They're going to have all the activations going on with the ball hockey and all different stuff going on there on Thunder Alley. Then 2:30, the player blue carpet walk begins. So come see what all the guys are wearing. That's a lot of fun. They'll sign some autographs on the way in. I think they do. But you get great pictures and stuff. That's always a lot of fun. Right. And then 3:15, Big Boy, Grammy Award winner, will be performing on the Ford Thunder Alley stage. So you get the free concert. Doors open at 4:00. Puck drop at 5:30. JP's pregame show at 5:15. They don't have that listed here. I don't know why that's not on here.
Mr. Important Pants isn't on the isn't on the schedule. What's going on?
What the hell? They don't get no respect. I tell you. Puck drop at 5:30. Watch party on Ford Thunder Alley. So if you can't get a ticket, and then we got post-game celebration at the tap room. I'll be doing the post-game show. So come by with Brian Engblom. So come by and say hello. Have a beer with us as we celebrate the big win tomorrow. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be really, really fun opening day.
The whole lineup tomorrow. I mean, we criticize ESPN for so many things, but tomorrow they've committed 3 hockey games back to back on ESPN. And after the Lightning, it leads right into Connor Bedard's debut in Chicago, which I'm really, really excited about. And then they're doing did you see they're doing a red zone version?
Yes. Is Bucci's hosting that?
Bucci's hosting. I think it's on ESPN Plus. Every goal, every power play, every hit is going to be shown. This is a huge, big deal I'm glad ESPN has finally taken that initiative this year.
They're embracing hockey a little bit more this year, which I think we all appreciate. I think maybe Mr. Bettman had a talk with ESPN after. It just, I mean, they treated hockey, NHL last year, like freaking redheaded stepchild. Yeah. That was an embarrassment. It was an embarrassment the way they treated hockey. And I'm glad. And they've got such an investment in it too.
Right.
Which is weird. Well, It is and it isn't. All right. Yeah. For ESPN. Right. Enough said. Not something that they really want to embrace. Not the National Hockey League. Shocking development. But hopefully we'll get a little bit more play this year. And opening night sounds good. And now, is that going to be available on ESPN Plus?
Yeah, ESPN Plus. It should be. I don't know the schedule though, because I can't imagine Butchie's going to be doing this every single night.
They can't do it every night.
There's no way. And I thought about it. I'm like, every goal, obviously, power play is okay, but every hit, I'm like, how's this going to work? I'm really interested to see how this is going to work. Yeah. To be honest with you, but I'm excited though. I think it's going to be. The National Hockey League is going to be on full display tomorrow for the entire country, and the Lightning kicking it off. And it's just, I say this all the time as a kid that grew up in South Florida and didn't know spit about hockey and then came here and really started to appreciate it. It's got so much that people love, in terms of it's got physicality. It's fast. There aren't a lot of commercial breaks, unlike college football. Good God. Right.
They substitute on the fly. It's just you can go 7, 8, 9 minutes without a whistle. There's not a sport like that. There's just not. And the level of play, I don't know about you. I mean, I'm obviously a little older than you, but the level of play and what you see on a nightly basis, like we go back to some of the goals that Braden Point scored last year. I mean, and, every time Connor McDavid gets the puck, Bedard, I can't wait to see him play. I mean, the skill level of these guys is freaking off the charts.
It's unreal. I think
it's crazy.
I think the skill in the game right now is the best it's ever been.
Yeah.
I mean, I watch like the old time, like the 90s hockey, and a lot of people are very nostalgic about it.
It looks like they're in mud.
Right, the physicalness of it. Like, and if you don't know, if you haven't watched any of it, or you're a younger fan like I am, just go watch that Colorado-Detroit documentary that ESPN
Oh, my God.
did. And that'll show you everything that whole brand of hockey is. But just from a skills standpoint right now, best it's ever been. And the fact that now you finally, like, we have the generational talent, and he's kind of in Edmonton, so a lot of people on this side miss him play a little bit.
Yeah.
But now we get, hopefully, Bedard's that guy in the eastern side, and you get to see him play every night.
Yeah. All right, quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk some more college football, some more NFL, lots of other stories to get into. Stay with us. Quick break. We're brought to you by Italiano Insurance, the Golden Diamond Source, Extravaganza Productions, and American Mortgage Services. Stay with us.
Guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz, the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com. Have any old coins sitting around the house? Well, the Golden Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Golden Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement costs, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at Italiano Insurance. Get your insurance checkup there. Give them a call, 813-877-7799 for your property insurance or your auto insurance. They could save you tons of money, and you will actually talk to a human. Great customer service at Italiano Insurance. Just give them a call, 813-877-7799. Tell them JP sent you, and let them shop around your auto, your property insurance, any other insurances you have, your business insurance. That's another big one. And you got to have business insurance, even if you got a little side hustle going on. Make sure you're insured. Doesn't cost a whole lot. And if you have a bigger company, shop it around. They could save you tons and tons of money. 813-877-7799. Let's get to some of our comments here, if I can, Nick, from this morning. RJ Martin, good morning to you. I cannot be happier by the way the Rangers handled the Orioles this weekend. All these Oriole fans got really quiet and quick after all the shit talk last week. Well, the Rays deserved it, number one. But, yeah, it's interesting that these teams that took a little bit of time off weren't as sharp. But I see a lot of people saying, we need to change the playoff format. I don't know, man. You get some rest. Just come out and play.
I got to be honest, though. I'm rooting for the Orioles. I'm not going to lie. I know I'm not supposed to.
What the hell?
I know I'm not supposed to, but, I was rooting for the Orioles. I can't help it. They're in the AL East. I think Rays fans would be really hurt if the Orioles did some damage in the postseason because they tanked for all those years, and then their first crack at it, if they were to pull something off, I think that's where Rays fans would be upset.
Yeah.
But yes, I did notice on Twitter there was a lot of Orioles fans who were kind of in the mentions all over the place. But again, when the Rays do what they did last week, you kind of open yourself up for every fan base to come at you a little bit.
You know what's interesting about the Orioles is they're very Rays-like. They don't have a lot of superstars, and the good players that they have are all pretty young, right?
Yeah.
They didn't go out and get any really super, big boppers or anything like that. There's not a whole lot of experience there. And look what happened.
And they just don't have
struggling.
They don't have the pitching.
Yeah.
You don't have the pitching. Whereas
their front line, and
even Texas, I think game one, Texas went with a committee approach. I think they did the opener and kind of did it that way. But then they got Monty back out there yesterday, and he did his thing. Not as good as he was against the Rays by any means, but the offense. And Mitch Garver just comes out. Mitch Garver's hitting third in their lineup, and I'm like, Mitch Garver didn't even play against the Rays. He's hitting third in your lineup, and what does he do? He hits a grand slam yesterday. They got it from everywhere. And that kid, Evan Carter, 21 years old, it feels like he gets on base every single time.
Yeah.
Fantastic player.
Yeah, it's just, but, experience wins. We'll see how this turns out. Series isn't over, but they're up 2-0.
Yeah, and to the point about experience real quick, and, I said last week on Twitter, about stars winning in the postseason and all that, and It's not so much about what they do in the regular season, because I'm getting a lot of flack because, well, look at the Rays in the regular season and this and that.
Who cares?
Here's what I'll just tell you. And Carlos Correa is a great example of this.
Yep.
Carlos Correa was brought in for a big money deal. I think it's the biggest deal that the Twins have ever handed out.
Yeah.
Carlos Correa yesterday, with 3 RBIs, he passed Derek Jeter and David Ortiz on the all-time postseason RBI list. He's only trailing David Justice, Manny Ramirez, and Bernie Williams. Postseason. Postseason. Okay. He's got 63 RBIs in the postseason. If he continues to make it, which he's a big-time performer, he's probably going to set the all-time postseason RBI record in the next couple seasons. That's what the Twins are paying him for.
Right.
Not for the regular season. They're paying him for the postseason when it matters, when the pressure is different. So, yes, keep telling me that the Rays do so well in the regular season and this offense was great and all that, and the best Rays offense of all time. But when there was pressure on them, guess what they did? They folded. And please stop telling me about Brandon Lau making a difference, because the guy is hitting under 100 for his postseason career, and he wasn't making up the total ineptitude that was the Rays offense in those first 2 games. So thank you. And sorry I'm going my Rays rant. I haven't had a chance to get my Rays thoughts out into the universe.
I was counting on that today.
Yeah, I guess I'll just continue, because I'm seeing so many Rays fans who are trying to justify what happened. And, it was just a 2-game sample size, and they don't really need to change anything. They have the players, blah, 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 blah. 2 runs in 42 innings in back-to-back postseasons. And you want to not change anything? GTFO. Please, respectfully. It ain't happening. The current core the Rays have constructed is not winning anything of note in October. Get that through your head. And raise the expectations, people, because here's what I'll tell you. I was going to use the Yankees as this example, but under Cashman, they're sleepwalking, so I'm going to move them out of the equation.
Right.
If the Red Sox or the Dodgers or the Braves won 100 games and then scored 2 runs in 2 postseason games and were out just like that, heads would roll. Heads would roll. And changes would be made.
Well, look what Chaim Bloom.
What
happened with Chaim Bloom.
Stop acting like the little child of Major League Baseball. Stop having this little small market mentality. This is not a small market. Stop saying that. Stop being content with just getting to the postseason. I want to win a World Series, and that's why I'm very passionate about the way that I think that this team needs to change things up a little bit. Not saying you got to go radical, because I think they have some really good core pieces in this lineup. And especially next year, if you get a full year of Junior Caminero, we'll see what happens with Wander Franco. There's some good things here still with this Rays team. But you've got to supplement that with players who can get it done when the pressure is there. End of story.
Amen, brother. Amen, brother. Remember when the Rays and fans got all giddy about, we signed Zach Eflin, 3 years, $40 million, the biggest free agent contract in history. Carlos Correa, 6 years, $200 million. That's Minnesota, okay? Which, again, build a new ballpark in the middle of your city, get more revenue, pack your ballpark like they do in the postseason. You can afford postseason players. That's the formula.
It's the formula. You can go on every team, by the way. You're not paying. Trey Turner did not have the greatest season for the Phillies, but guess what? He's doing his thing in the postseason. Bryce Harper, same thing. He's doing his thing in the postseason. That's when it counts. When it counts. Not the regular season. The game is different. The game is different. The pressure is different. And the Rays have shown you for 3 straight postseasons that they're not that team.
4-14 in the postseason, their last 18 games. 1 run in 44 innings. They've lost 7 straight games. You can sit there and say all you want. They're doing great. They're playing great. They're winning division titles. They're getting into the postseason. Tired of hanging wild card banners. Nobody else does that, by the way.
Yeah, this is the most fruitful time in the history of the franchise. And it'll be a damn shame if they can't get back to the World Series under a full season. Not the 60 game, not trying to take anything away from the 60 game season, because everybody had to do it, but that was the best team the Rays had assembled. And what did they have? They had a nice young nucleus of a core that was coming up, and they also had veterans. And if there's one thing the Rays need to do, they got to go out there and get some veteran leadership. That's clearly lacking on this team. You all laugh at me because I keep clamoring for Evan Longoria. How's he doing in Arizona? How's he doing for that ball club? He seems to be doing pretty good to me, JP.
He made a couple of huge plays.
Yeah, and he's hitting. He was part of the the entire lineup that killed Clayton Kershaw in Game 1 the other night in Los Angeles. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's like I understand he's not as good as he used to be, but you need some veterans in there. And they had none of that this year. You've got to mix that up. That's all I'm asking for. Just give me some veterans who have been there. We always used the Cliff Floyd as the example. Charlie Morton was that guy on the 2020 team. That's what they need, and they lack that this year.
And who else came up big? 34-year-old Tommy Pham.
Right. They went out there and they supplemented a veteran. Then they have the young star Corbin Carroll who's doing his thing. It's a mix. It's a mixture of all that. I believe that you need to win a World Series.
I agree. And I'm not here to say the Diamondbacks are going to win the World Series because I don't think they have enough experienced players either. But
but they had a better shot than the Rays did based on what they assembled.
Yeah, you look at the Atlanta Braves payroll and who they went out and got. Guys that were talked about in terms of coming to the Rays, right? Matt Olson, they're paying him $21 million, and Ronald Acuna Jr. gets $17 million. Marcell Ozuna, $16 million. Austin Riley, $15 million. Max Fried, $13.5. He's in his arbitration 3, by the way. Travis d'Arnaud, by the way. So there's, and of course they went and got the best pitcher off the race staff to win.
Right. And then Charlie also Morton. Too, in the context of the Ranger series, I had people, they were in my mentions on Twitter when I said the Stars thing, and they're like, well, what about who does Texas have that's a star? They paid $500 million combined to get Corey Seager and Marcus Semien, 2 top 15 players in baseball. Corey Seager's a guy that's won a World Series MVP.
Yeah.
Okay. And Max Scherzer, by the way, is coming.
He's coming.
Right. Okay. And you have Eovaldi, who statistically is the best postseason pitcher like in the last 5-6 years. So don't come with me and tell me that Texas doesn't have stars. Yeah.
And somehow they've found a way to build 2 baseball stadiums in the last 25 years. We can't build 1.
Correct.
Interesting. Other comments coming in today. Bucks Basement showing up. Cowboys are mediocre as hell. They took advantage of weak teams, and then furthermore, their offense can't score in the red zone. McCarthy is washed. Hard to argue with that. Also, I think it's time we say goodbye to Belichick. He's washed. Dude looks like Shula looked at the end. I'll take Mac Jones and develop him. Their offense is abhorrent. Jones isn't the problem. I mean, can you just imagine? You imagine any other coach in the league not having an offensive coordinator while you're trying to develop a young quarterback last year?
That's what I'm saying. They
nobody else gets away with that. That's just stupid.
And look at that roster. Their offensive line stinks. They have the worst group of wideouts, I think, in the entire NFL. At least they can't separate. I mean, Devontae Parker is on record. The stats say it. He's like the worst separation receiver in the entire league, and you're trying to play him like he's a 1.
Yeah.
I mean, no. The Patriots have set that kid up to fail, and they've set themselves up to fail.
Bucks are rocking the throwback helmets at practice today. Yeah, they got to get used to their helmets this week.
Oh, it's going to be so great.
Oh. I hope they come out and play great, though. I hope they're not all – I don't think the players will be distracted by all the creamsicle stuff, but,
I think Baker's going to be ready for it, who, by the way, shout out Baker Mayfield, all over the place this weekend in college.
Yeah, he was.
And he was a hit. He was fantastic on that show.
Yeah, if you missed the College Game Day, which is the best show on television, by the way, not even close. I cannot wait to watch that and the new Open. How do you like the new Open with Darius and the whole group?
I'm a bit nostalgic, so the Big and Rich, to me, I didn't think there was anything wrong with it. Personally,
you got to update it every
College
now
Game
and
Day.
then.
The only thing that's bothered me with College Game Day is they're starting the whole thing that's going on with Washington State and McAfee get involved. I don't like that. It's always been a show for the fans. Well, he's openly going after Washington State fans because they were unhappy about the comment that was made a couple weeks ago, where it was like the Nobody Cares About Us Bowl or something between Washington State and Oregon State. And now McAfee's going after Washington State. And remember, that Washington State flag flies every single Saturday.
That's
and
right.
Now you're kind of spitting in their face a little bit. So I don't like that from College Game Day. I think
I'm just going to be upfront as I can. I'm completely over Pat McAfee.
He's being shoved down my throat just a little too much right now.
Yeah, I'm just complete. And this is the thing. McAfee was an acquired taste. Okay. It was different because they dropped F-bombs and there's all different stuff. And now it just feels I can't look at the tank tops, the gold watch, it's too
all
much. This. Come on. It's enough. It's way too much. Now we got the McAfee sideline pass.
Right. I mean, in Saturday in general and everything that I watch, he was everywhere. College game day, he's on there. The Texas-Oklahoma game, he's on there doing his bit with Matthew McConaughey. And listen, there's some funny parts of it. I love Matthew McConaughey, obviously. And then after that, like, I turned on, in my world, wrestling, I turned on the pay-per-view that night, and Pat McAfee shows up because it's in Indianapolis. And I'm just like, I started watching this guy at 9 o'clock in the morning, and now it's 10 o'clock at night, and now he's on my TV on pay-per-view when I'm trying to watch wrestling. It's just like he's everywhere. And, like, I appreciate the grind, man. The hustle's there.
Yeah.
And listen, I can't imagine what it's like to try to be like Pat McAfee, like, that long throughout the day and every day. But it's just a little too much right now.
Like, his allure to me was counterculture, right? He was, like, throwback, counterculture, you know, especially the punter, you know, was the bit was good. Like, I really liked it. It was really good. Now it just seems like you were the counterculture. Now you've gone mainstream. You completely sold out, and it just doesn't work. It doesn't click for me.
It's kind of like it's kind of like music, you know. Like, and I do this all the time.
Yeah,
like,
right.
When you try to find
the band becomes super popular, they're not good anymore, right?
Like, and I'm guilty of that. Like, I started listening to Luke Combs in 2016. In 2016, hardly anybody knew who Luke Combs was.
That's right.
Now he's the biggest superstar in country music, and guess what? I don't really listen to him anymore because I feel like his music changed.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's absolutely 100. That is a great analogy. Absolutely perfect. You know, and not that, you know, the person changed, although McAfee seems to, you know, a little bit of a sellout there. But it's just not the same. It's just, and not, you know, I don't think Luke Combs is trying to be different. I'm not trying, you know, but you just get treated different. You're shown different, and then the alts allure just doesn't play anymore when you're the biggest superstar out there. I've seen an interview with BJ Upton where he bluntly said this year the team was good, but it's not like the team he had when we went to the World Series. Turns out he was right. Yeah. And go back. I mean, look at those teams too. There was a great mix of experience and good young players. You know, and those guys had been there and kind of done it before. So
they played loose too. I've heard that word come around a lot where, like, you know, you play loose. Like, you watch the Phillies, like, it looks like they're playing very loose in the postseason, right? Because those guys aren't scared of the pressure. The Rays look like they're gripping the bat a little too hard. Everything just looks very difficult for them, and I think that's why you have a lot of the errors that you saw during that series, and a lot of them just not coming up in big moments.
Yeah, I totally agree, and that's inexperience. That's inexperience, and that's why, you know, that's why the Rays in this iteration, to me, Brandon Lau in the postseason.
Would you consider moving on from him? Because I'm not for a talent standpoint, but just he can't stay healthy. The injuries are starting to rattle up now. He's not a spring chicken anymore. He's on a really affordable deal. I know the Rays like that about him, but I have to think if they floated him out to the trade market,
he's not going anywhere.
If they floated him out to the trade market, I truly believe the Rays could get a pretty good deal for him because I think the rest of the league thinks highly about him.
It all depends on what you get back. And, you know what, I'm starting again, you know, I know it sounds like a broken record, but I think, you know, I think this carpet has a lot to do with the injuries, especially the leg injuries that our players get, you know, and it's unlike the surface that other teams play on. And, you know, I don't hear teams complaining or players complaining about the surface, the other artificial surfaces. I know there's not many, but I don't hear them complaining about them as much as they do in Tampa and how hard it is to play on. So, yeah, I think that's definitely part of it. There's no question.
Yeah.
So.
And James says you can't have Curtis Mead at second base. Yeah, I don't mean putting Curtis Mead at second base. I think you would have to definitely
feet.
Yeah, you definitely would have to find a remedy, but he was playing there out of necessity. They just had nobody else they could put over there.
And I was watching Sean McDonough was calling a football game this weekend, and they were going over his schedule, like where he's been and what he's done, all these big events. And like he says, you started the week in St. Petersburg. And he's like, yeah, don't remind me of that.
I thought Sean McDonough, though, was a little bit he calls radio broadcasts for the Red Sox, and it came off like that. He was taking every shot that he could get. I thought it was like, you want to mention it one time, fine. But it was like a broken record the entire broadcast. And as a fan, I was just like, cut it out, please. Like, I get it. I'll
give you that. I forgot that he was a Red Sox guy. I always think of him more as a national guy, but you're right. I mean, but he's not wrong.
No, it's not like he's wrong or anything. I just didn't need to be constantly reminded of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And by the way, I know you weren't on Friday, but did you get a chance to listen to the Ken Hagen interview that we did? Any thoughts?
I listened to parts of it, and I mean, my stance kind of remains the same. If Tampa really wants to be in the running, then I don't know what help you're going to get from the Rays on that. Yeah. To be honest, because I mean, the numbers speak for themselves, and it sounds like Stu is very into the whole what he's getting up front.
Yeah.
More so than the long-term impact. And listen, I mean, a big thing when it comes to the city of Tampa, clearly they have issues financially. I think that's fair to say. And they have to game plan for the whole redevelopment potentially or upgrades of what's going on at Raymond James. I mean, I think that plays a big part in it because do you want the baseball stadium in Tampa, or what's more important? I guess is what I'm saying. Like, or do you want to upgrade Raymond James Stadium because it's not just the Bucks for 8 games out of a season you get. You want to continue to get the big concerts that come over here. You want to continue to be in the running for Super Bowls and college championships and WrestleManias and all these big events. And right now, Tampa's kind of, I think, fallen out of favor a little bit with all these big stadiums that are going up.
Yeah, I think I mean, obviously, SoFi is going to get their majority because the NFL, have so much invested in that, right? Vegas is going to become, they got the Super Bowl this year. They're probably going to blow it out of the water. I mean, people are there's just so many great venues in Vegas for parties and stuff like that. Like I can see them, like Vegas becoming, part of the rotation, like a five stadium rotation.
Right, and Miami feels like it's probably past Tampa too when it comes to that rotation.
Yeah, because they got a roof. They got a roof on that stadium. Not a roof, but a shade.
A shade thing, yeah.
Yeah, but which I think they're going to look hard at Raymond James Stadium at doing that because I don't know in this day and age. Like I just don't know if you can spend because to put up a Mercedes-Benz or a Jerry World, which is hosting these big events now. That's got to be 2.5, almost $3 billion now with the construction costs and where it's going. Where do you build that? Probably in the parking lot at Raymond James. You just where the old sombrero was.
Maybe the Glazers could finally sell the other football team, and they could put a hefty chunk of that money to the Bucks. You never know.
Because Arthur Blank pretty much paid for that whole stadium in Atlanta, and they get a lot of
I feel like at the end of the day, is it so hard to ask the billionaire owners to pay the front of the bill when it comes to these things?
And the fact of the matter is, there's revenue streams there to make money. It's not like you're losing money on the deal because if you own the damn thing and you own the building and you own all of it, right. That's why Jerry makes a lot of money at that stadium. That's why he wanted to control it. It's why Arthur Blank wanted to control it. You don't have to cede any control to any municipalities or any of that stuff, but you got to pay a big chunk of it up front. I think, for the Glazers especially, they will be cash rich when they sell Man United. But it's also a big risk. I mean, to in this day and age, who the hell knows where the world's going?
A question here from James. Is it Ludman? Apologies if I got that wrong. Ludeman. Yeah. Fill in the blank. The Bucks are the blank best team in the NFC. I think we would agree 49ers 1, Eagles 2. And then after that, probably the Lions are 3.
I guess we'll settle that next week, right?
Yeah, we'll see. But I think for right now, you're going to say the Lions are 3. And then after that, I think you could make an argument for, I got to tell you, based on the way, I know the Rams are 2-3 or whatever it is, but based on the way they played against the 49ers and the Eagles, kept it close for stretches of that game, and they were able to move the ball, just couldn't get in the end zone at the end of the day. The Rams, I don't know. I mean, I think the Rams might have a case for that. I think they're going to add more wins to their schedule, but especially they got Cooper Kupp back yesterday. Puka Nacua still did his thing. Kyron Williams doing things. The young defense, Raheem Morris, who I'm going to advocate right now, should be a head coach by the next year. I think he's earned that.
I do too.
I like the Rams, and I like Seattle as well. I think they might be 4-5, and then I think I'd probably slide the Bucks somewhere right there at 6.
Yeah, Seattle's 3-1. Interesting. I don't know. They haven't really played too many. trying to see who
Seattle beat Detroit in overtime on the road.
Oh, that's right. So,
and then Seattle beat the Rams as well. And then they killed the Giants, obviously, on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, Seattle. Well, they lost to the Rams, 30 to 30.
Oh, yeah, they lost to the Rams. That's right. Carolina was the team I was thinking. They blasted Carolina at home.
They beat Detroit 37-31 on the road. Beat Carolina 37-27. Beat the Giants 24-3. That doesn't count. And then they're at Cincinnati this week. So we'll keep an eye on the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, I think the Bucs, unless you disagree, I think they're the 6th or 7th best team right now. And I think that's where I'd slot them. I like what they've done, but I think I like those other teams just a little bit more. But it's not really interchangeable. Like, I think the top 2 are in their own tier. I think Detroit's in their own tier. And then I think you can make any case of those 4 or 5 teams I just said after that.
Yeah, the Falcons are 3-2, but they have a 13-point negative differential.
They don't lose at home, though. Ritter's never lost at home. You got to give that to him.
He played really well yesterday. The Falcons are sneaky. Yeah, they're kind of where the Bucs are. But they're 3-2. The Saints are 3-2 after blowing out. But the Saints just didn't look great. They're
not in sync right now, I don't think.
Yeah, and I don't trust their head coach. Dennis Allen just is not impressive.
Right.
The Packers are they're meh. The Cowboys, the Cowboys are sitting there plus 51 in net points, which I think is the best. That's even more than the Eagles. The Eagles are only plus 37, which is very interesting. They're playing too many close games. The 49ers are plus 99.
They've scored 30-plus points in every game. They're one of 6 teams in the Super Bowl era to do that.
Really?
And 5 of them, I think, all went to the Super Bowl.
The Steelers are 3-2 atop the division. They're negative 31 in net points. Yeah, the Dolphins are plus 46. The Bills are plus 79. The net points are a little skewed. Even 5 games in.
What were the? Do you have the Bucs number by chance?
They're plus 13.
Yeah,
plus 16. Sorry, plus 16.
It sounds like Todd Bowles football.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. They're not blowing anybody away. It's just interesting where this is going. And I think the Eagles are way more quarterback dependent than the 49ers are. Not that, we said so many great things about Brock Purdy. If Brock Purdy were to go down, I still think San Francisco with Sam Darnold might be a pretty damn good football team.
They can win in every way possible. Yeah, they have that luxury because of all the players they have and the coach and all that. So I don't know. They're to me, when I watch them play, though, they play like it's, I don't know, I'm trying to find the right words to describe the way they play. Like, I guess beautiful, for lack of a better term. It seems like beautiful football is what the Niners play. Whereas the Eagles,
brutally beautiful.
Right. Whereas the Eagles, I feel like they wear you down. Like, there's a stat last year. I think every team that played the Eagles last year, the next week, none of them won a game.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's same for the 49ers too.
Right.
Yeah. The Chiefs are 4-1, but I don't think they've looked great. At this AFC South, the Jags, the Chiefs. The AFC South, the Jags win yesterday. They're 3-2.
They got to play every game in London.
Yeah, the Colts are 3-2. I mean, the Colts are 3-2. Who had that? Like, the Ravens are 3-2 and should have won yesterday.
They haven't looked impressive though.
Yeah. The Dolphins are 4-1. But I still think they're fool's gold. They're fast. They can score points. I'm not impressed with their defense.
And Buffalo stifled. Buffalo now they've lost Tre'Davious White. They lost Matt Milano.
That's huge.
Von Miller just got back.
Yeah.
Although he left the game early, by the way, against Jacksonville. Let's keep that in mind. So I don't know. Buffalo might not have the players anymore defensively, but at least when they were at full strength against Miami, they shut them down.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot to be decided in the NFL, folks. And the thing about the Bucs is, and we'll after break, we'll get into this a little bit more. I still think their best football is ahead of them. I really do. Kalijah Kancey hasn't played. Hopefully he can get back and play this week. And I think that adds a lot to their defense, and their defense is pretty damn good as it is. If they can get their corners healthy and play at the same time, And Zion McCollum has really showed well.
Yeah, I was going to say, though, D. Delaney, too. I saw the number.
Love D. Delaney.
When guys are targeting
Always
D. Delaney, he's got the lowest, I think, passer rating against a corner in the entire NFL this year. When quarterbacks throw his way.
That's crazy, right? So I still think their best football is ahead of them. Offensively, I think they can get a lot better than they've been. And they can get a little bit more varied. Get Kate Otten into it, get their running game better. I think they got a chance to be a pretty decent football team. I think they're going to win. I still think, the Saints will have something to say about it. They're a good football team, but I think right now you're looking at the Saints and saying they're still a good football team. They're not terrible.
Well, maybe they're not.
The Falcons are bad, and the Bucs are 3-1. The Panthers suck, but everybody said the NFC South was going to be awful across the board. And look at Look what's going on.
They're holding up okay. I mean,
they got 3 teams with winning records.
Right. They might be what division is better than them in the NFC West is the best division in football, especially since Arizona is playing every team tough.
Mm-hmm.
But the NFC South has a case for being the second best division in football, or not football, but in the NFC.
I'm just seeing if I'm correct. The the NFC South is the only division with 3 teams with winning records. How about that?
There you go.
How about that? We'll look at the schedules, but how about that? That's just this crazy freaking league, man. The no freaking logic league. That's what it is. All right, let's do a quick break. I'm going to come back. I'm going to hit a couple more NFL notes, a couple of college football notes as well. We didn't talk about USF. Want to get in them as they lose to UAB. The defense has been pretty good this year, but not this week. So we'll talk some USF, maybe get some UCF in there, and a couple other interesting stories that are out there. So stay with us. Quick break here on the JP Peterson Show.
Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz, the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com. Have any old coins sitting around the house? Well, the Gold and Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Gold and Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000
on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement costs, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. We're going to be at the patio, by the way, as we are each and every Monday night for Monday Night Football tonight. Who we got tonight going?
The Raiders and the Packers.
Wow. Why do the Raiders what a great brand they used to have, and now their brand is like just buffoonery. And, Vegas, they got a great venue, all that, but it's like the Raiders, like nobody thinks they're ever going to do anything. They're 1-3. They've scored 62 points, and they're minus 39 in net points.
Yeah, and I was listening to Joe McCoy, by the way, who is at NFL Network. He's fantastic on TV.
Yeah, he really is good.
He was on Colin's show on Friday, and he was talking about the Raiders because he spent a year with the Raiders in 2021.
That's right.
And he straight up, he gave some insight. He's like, Devontae Adams is now starting to talk pretty candidly about how things are there. And he's like, once the stars start doing that, you're done. Like, you've lost it at that point. So it sounds like he thinks like we're at a point of no return with the Raiders. So
yeah. It feels like they need an ownership change, and maybe the NFL is going to kind of phase Mark Davis out and
let Tom
Brady in. Yeah, let's get the golden child, bring it in. Yeah, I mean it couldn't hurt. Certainly couldn't hurt because that guy just seems like he's a weirdo. Let's just be honest.
Even yesterday, like the visual, like the Aces Liberty game yesterday in the finals, Tom and Mark Davis were sitting courtside next to each other, and it's a strange visual because you have Tom Brady, who's the most buttoned up, human out there, at least that I know of, and he's next to Mark Davis with that damn bowl cut, man. And it's just
is he still wearing jumpsuits like his dad too?
I think so. Yeah, it's just he's a weird cat.
Let's see which one, came up, it earned everything in terms of Tom Brady by himself, chip on his shoulder. And who's the silver spoon kid who got handed everything? Let's see. Okay. I think I know where that's going. Yeah, absolutely ridiculous. So we didn't talk about USF, who got blown out by UAB. Trent Dilfer in their first home AAC game gets a big win over USF. You got to stack wins, but I mean, if you're USF, you can still have to be thrilled with where you are at this particular point. You weren't going to win the rest of them, but they're still scoring points. Byron Brown is fantastic. Boy, he had a couple of nice, really long runs. One where he stiff armed safety, just that was ugly. But they just couldn't stop anybody. They just could not get a stop in this game at all. So Todd Orlando's defense did not step up.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting 56 points and 600 yards of offense. I think it was for UAB, but no, I know that's bad and it's not ideal and everything, but given where USF was entering the season and where they are now, I mean, I know I said I think they were a sneaky pick to maybe make some noise and potentially find themselves in a conference game. Maybe that still happens, but to think that they were just going to run through all these teams without a slip up was probably naive thinking, to be honest. They're not there yet. They still got to fix that defense a little bit, but they had the game against Alabama that was great. I guess that's the part that's a little perplexing is how do you allow
14 points to Alabama and 40 or 56 to Alabama Birmingham?
That's the perplexing part, but you know what? I like the theory of, it's an offensive coach in Alex Golish. As long as the offense looks good to start, because that's his side of the ball, and I think the offense is doing their part outside of the Alabama game, obviously, where Byron Brown was overwhelmed. So it's a little bit of a step back, but not a big one. I think USF's going to be fine, and the games they have coming up, I still think they're all winnable for them.
Yeah, Yeah. Here's a thought by Richie P. Said, you nailed it, JP. Stu wants the upfront money. Per Hagan, he would make the same money in the Tampa deal, but if ownership changes, then Stu may not see that end of the Tampa deal. Yeah, like I said in the interview, I think the only way the stadium ends up in Tampa now is if MLB gets involved, and I don't think that's a Hail Mary. I think there's a pathway for that because of the lawsuit that Stu is facing. He's got to settle that lawsuit before he sells the team. He's got to settle that lawsuit before any of this can be approved. I don't see how two public entities can give an owner who has a developing lawsuit like this or an ongoing lawsuit $1.3 billion in public money. And let's remember, folks, that the real numbers are out now if you haven't seen them, and it's closer to 1.3 billion in public money than 600 million. Shocking development. They lied about that. But yeah, MLB could get involved because, as Hagan said, the long-term money, there's more money in it for the ownership group if they build in Tampa, potentially. Nothing's for sure. So there's definitely more risk, which begs the question, why wouldn't MLB get it? If upfront cost is the problem, I mean, MLB has all the money they could ever want. If they know that if the ownership group's going to make more money long-term, why wouldn't MLB get involved and put up some money?
Well, I wonder too, MLB had that, again, they had the Rays for 2 straight games on ABC on national television. You had a national announcer openly making fun of the fan base and the franchise. It was the biggest talk outside of the games. It's
embarrassing to Major League Baseball.
It's embarrassing to Major League Baseball. I mean, I wonder if they see that, and listen, they're not gonna hear the excuses and some of the reasons why the crowd was the crowd. I don't think Rob Manfred's gonna hear that, to be honest with you. So, I mean, do they have a change of heart now, I guess is what I'm saying. After seeing
MLB? Yeah. Again, the commissioner has not said one thing about this stadium deal, which is bizarre, beyond bizarre. Every time, even the Las Vegas deal, his fingerprints are all over that. And when it was announced, he's out front and, everybody's talking about it. He has not said one word about this deal. And, James asked, if ownership group will buy the Rays if they do a St. Pete Stadium deal. No, like Hagan said, and some other people have told me with this ownership group that, this is public record. The Doyles are involved in this, which is Dex Imaging, and they do not want to do a St. Pete deal. No, they do not. The people that want to buy the team do not want a stadium in St. Pete, which, again, that doesn't fit, right? Because he's going to sell the team. We're almost positive of that. To the point, Ken Hagan said this, that their negotiator who deals with Major League Baseball and and Stu and the ownership group said he didn't know who he was negotiating with, whether it was Stu or the new ownership group. That's how far this purchase is along. And so if it's that far along, and the deal in St. Pete is far from done, they have a lot of details. Even the stuff that was released the other day that's not even a final document, a final financial document. It's an outline. So they don't even have final documents prepared as far as, and that's just for the St. Pete Council and the county commissioners to look at and to consider and to have public comment over. This thing that was released the other day was just an outline. So there's a long way to go. There's a long way to go in terms of this financial deal. I don't think it's any more along than the Ybor City deal was, to be quite honest with you.
All I know is that it makes for a long offseason of discussion, both off the field and on the field for this Rays team. It's going to be a very interesting 6 months to see what happens and how different things might look by the time we get to this time or March of next year.
Yeah, and that's why this is the big question. Why would Manfred allow a St. Pete deal? I don't know. I think the only thing he would be thinking is, all right, get it done, and then we can just get our expansion money and move on with the other expansion teams.
But I wonder, too, and there's all these, rumors out there about, Stu could be potentially selling the team and all that. I guess, did I hear it right on Hagan? I might have missed this, but did he say something about he knew there were a couple buyers?
Yes.
Potentially,
yeah,
and they wanted to build it in Tampa, right?
Right.
I had heard that.
Yes.
And I just find it interesting, like, I don't know if you can answer this, but so let's just say this thing happens in St. Pete and then he sells the team after. like we've already, like after this whole thing's agreed and there's actual shovel in the ground in St. Pete. So I don't know. I guess that just seems like an interesting business move to now just have a new owner inherit a new stadium that they didn't go through that process themselves. And what if they didn't want to be over there? Like, now does he have to sell to somebody who wants to have it in St. Pete? Like, I don't know. There's a lot of questions there, I think, in regards to a possible sell with this team.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, this could also be a bargaining chip to get the price up. If Stu's talking to, if the Doyles or whomever, right? And the team is valued at $1.2 billion by Forbes. Mm-hmm. Okay. I believe that was the latest valuation. So if you're going to get 1.9, maybe Stu is using this deal as a bargaining chip. Say, oh, listen, if you want to build in Tampa, you better pay what I'm asking now and get your own deal done. Okay. And this, because he's not, St. Pete has nothing. Like, the Rays could get out of that deal in a heartbeat. If somebody bought the team today, they could look at them and say, yeah, we're out. They're not, there's no binding agreement to the stadium deal at all. So anybody who came in could get out of the deal right away. And then St. Pete would have to go back to the starting blocks being screwed by Stu again. So if I'm Stu and I'm trying to get top dollar from this group, I'd be like, hey man, I got a deal here from St. Pete. I'm going to pull the trigger on this unless you pay me 1.9 or 2.1 or 2.4 or whatever the hell he's asking. Right. And so this could be a leverage point for him to get as big a price as he could get. So, and again, this is what's weird about MLB not speaking about this at all, because we know two things. Well, we know a lot. MLB wants it in Tampa, right? MLB does not want to leave this market, right? So MLB is not a big fan of Stu Sternberg, Sister City, and everything else. And MLB has to approve any new stadium deal. So there's a lot of things that MLB just got embarrassed nationally on TV. So I don't think MLB sitting there going, oh yeah, we can't wait to get this deal done in St. Pete. Why? Why would they be happy about it? Why would the other owners be happy about it? And knowing that they're probably still going to have to write revenue sharing checks to the St. Pete franchise forever. Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And remember, MLB has control for all the people like, oh, that whoever buys it's going to move the team. Well, MLB has to approve a move. And again, why would they approve a move to another city that they're considering for expansion? Now, if somebody came out of the blue and wanted to move it to, I don't know, Charlotte or someone, or I guess Charlotte's kind of in the expansion race, but maybe that was another market that we don't see coming. And MLB would be like, oh, but they still have a big hole in the 11th largest market, which they don't want. A lot of their TV contracts are tied to having a team in the top 25 markets. So, like I said, a lot of question marks out there. We'll see where it goes. I think it's far from done. All right. Great job, Nick Geddes. Appreciate you. Appreciate Eric Erlinson, Corey Long for joining us today. Please like and subscribe on our YouTube page, FanStream Sports, the JP Peterson Show. Please like and subscribe on Apple or wherever you get your podcast to make sure you're notified each and every day when the podcast drops, which is just afternoon. Have a great day, everybody. We'll be at the patio tonight, 5 to 7 o'clock. Come on down and see us. Peter Blake will be joining me there. We'll be talking all things football. We'll be talking some Lightning as well. Oh, and we've got 2 tickets to give away tonight. 2 tickets to the opener from the patio. So come on down. If you want to go to the Lightning opener, we'll have a nice little contest for you. Must be present to win. So come on down and we'll do a little contest. We'll see you then.